Sydney Sweeney has been taking a lot of arrows recently from people within Hollywood over the perception of her conservative political beliefs. Now, as far as I know, she hasn't actually confirmed one way or the other where she stands, but people dug into her and saw that she was registered as a Republican and basically take that to mean that she's far right on every political issue under the sun. This has caused some friction between her and some other people within the industry. We talked about recently about how Zendaya and her were having this falling out over political disagreements, but that's just rumors, so you have to take them with a pinch of salt. But one of the things that isn't rumors is what actress Ruby Rose thinks about Sydney Sweeney, because she made some statements recently about her that were pretty bad. But before I really look at them, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you can, leave a comment, tell me what you think about this story, or hit the like button too, because it helps out with the channel. Ruby Rose said Christy's Sydney Sweeney ruined the film amid flop. Christy deserved better. This is coming from Deadline here, and it's talking about the movie Christy that Sydney Sweeney is just in, about the boxer Christy Martin. The movie's not doing too well in theaters right now, and Ruby Rose is blaming Sydney Sweeney for this. The Batwoman alum who said she was originally attached to the biopic about the boxer Christy Martin reacted to the movie's $1.3 million opening after Sweeney has come under fire in recent months for her controversial American Eagle ad, which was accused of promoting eugenics. Okay, the ad wasn't controversial, or at least it's not controversial to the vast majority of the public. The only people who actually think the ad was controversial are basically far left activists, or people who don't actually think for themselves, but just allow like other far left media outlets to do the thinking for them, because the ad was literally just a funny play on words. And that's all it was. It wasn't meant to be taken seriously, but people tried to infer the wrong thing from it. Basically, those who are perpetual victims tried to find some way of being victimized by an American Eagle ad of all things and got mad about it. Sydney Sweeney was asked about this in a recent interview where basically they said like, hey, your ad was racist. Do you apologize for it? And she basically denied the whole premise right there. And a lot of people thought that was pretty funny. But of course, more people were getting mad about that sort of thing. So here we are. The original Christy Martin script was incredible, life-changing. I was attached to play Cherry, she wrote on Threads, referring to another role in the film. Everyone had experience with the core material. Most of us were actually gay. It's part of why I stayed in acting. Losing roles happens all the time. So this kind of comes across as Ruby Rose being a little bit upset that a straight woman was playing a gay character in film, despite the fact that Christy Martin herself actually praised Sydney Sweeney for her portrayal, which to me, this just kind of shows where a lot of people within the LGBT community, they don't necessarily see themselves as individuals, or people within that community don't see the others in that community as individuals. They see them as just their group identity, because Christy Martin herself, maybe she's like, okay, I would have preferred a gay person actually play me, but she's not necessarily looking for someone to represent the overall community. She's looking to see how Sydney Sweeney was able to play her, not necessarily a group. And she thought Sydney Sweeney did a good job playing her as an individual person, but people within that community like Ruby Rose don't see them as individual people. They just see them as their group identity. And if you don't have someone who represents that group identity, then you shouldn't be playing that role. Rose continued for her PR to talk about it flopping and say Sydney Sweeney did it for the people. None of the people want to see someone who hates them parading around pretending to be us. You're a cretin and you ruined the film, period. Christy deserved better. I mean, this kind of just goes to show my point about how Ruby Rose is melting down over this whole thing, because like, oh, well, so it was someone who wasn't a part of our community was playing someone within that community, even though that individual themselves actually had nothing but good things to say about Sydney Sweeney in this whole endeavor, which if the person Sydney Sweeney is playing doesn't have a problem with her playing it, then who are you to basically stand up and say like, no, she doesn't know what she's talking about. I'm speaking on behalf of this overall LGBT community, and I'm saying that you don't deserve to play this role because you don't actually represent us. Because if you really think about it, who represents who when they're playing a performance? I mean, it's called acting for a reason. I mean, you could always just kind of get down to it and figure out like, okay, which community does this person belong to? It's like, oh, well, you're playing a person who is from California and you're from New York. You can't play this person because you don't it's like, you could always just get down into the nitty gritty about all that sort of things. All it is, whether a person's gay, straight, or what any other thing, that's just a small portion of their character or who they are as a person. Acting isn't about just dialing in on one aspect of them and then just playing to that. It's about actually understanding the person as a whole, whether they're a real person or it's a fictional character. It's understanding the whole and playing them as a whole. Sydney Sweeney was supposedly doing that with this one. That's why Christy Martin actually praised her performance. But people like Ruby Rose and the other activists who are upset about this don't see them as individual people. In another post, Rose corrected herself. Cretin is an ableist term. I thought it meant creature in Old English. I regret writing that, and it should have just said psychopath. She really, I love this because even though she's trying to look, it's basically like trying to attack someone, but then also like going back and being like, oh wait, no, I shouldn't have said that. It's like that's an ableist term, and just thinking it's an Old English term. It's like that. It's funny because not only is she wrong on this one, but now she has to kind of like apologize, but also that she's just a complete moron who didn't know what she was saying when she was saying it, which I think there could be a lesson to be learned in all this, because just basically don't talk unless you know what you're talking about. But to me, it just comes across as, I don't know what her involvement was. It said she was supposed to play a supporting character and there was a lot of gay people in the movie and stuff like that. And then things actually kind of fell through. She wasn't in it. And maybe this is just her being upset that she didn't get a role in a movie. And now she's trying to find some way of saying like, oh, well, if there was more gay people in this movie, it would have been more successful. And I'm not even convinced that's going to be the case too, because it says here at the start of the article, it made $1.3 million here in its opening weekend. I believe the budget was around $15 million. But if you think about it, movies like this aren't box office juggernauts. These are just kind of low budget movies, and like you wouldn't normally see these getting major theatrical releases. And actually, as far as I know, this isn't, I mean, I guess it's like what, 2,000 screens. I mean, that's a moderately big opening, but it's not like a huge opening that you see from some of these blockbuster movies that are being released, which are released to like 3,500, 4,000 theaters or something like that. So this was a movie that wasn't going to make huge money, but for some reason the producers decided to invest more money into it. We saw this with the Smashing Machine earlier this year that cost around $20 million to produce and made under that at the global box office. And I think what's happening is people are taking movies and concepts that would ordinarily just be like small indie movies, but they're casting big stars in it, thinking like, okay, if we cast a big star in this movie, then maybe we can make that big money too. So they're spending as much on there to try to basically further cast, and they're thinking they can give themselves more of a budget. Come to find out, no, there just isn't an audience for this particular type of movie, and that's why they're ultimately failing at the box office. I'm not blaming Sydney Sweeney for it. I think if she wanted to do a role like this, she probably knew that it wasn't going to be a huge money maker, but she decided to take on the role anyway because it was a different deviation from what she normally does, and she wanted to have an acting challenge. And okay, fine for her on that. And I don't think anyone should really be upset with her for or blaming her for the movie failing, because from what people are saying, even people who didn't like the movie, is that she did a decent job in the performance. It's just, it was a performance in a movie that people were ordinarily not going to go see. But let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below. Do you think Ruby Rose is overreacting in all this? Or do you think it's because of Sydney Sweeney is why the movie was failing? Comment below. And also, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with the latest entertainment news. And don't forget to hit the like button and share the video out there because it helps out with the channel. Thank you.